Today is 16th December, and we'll start with the React, and we may do problems also and object-oriented JavaScript, depend on the time we get. So this is the part which was pending on that day. So let's continue with this part. So when user search the location, sorting is based on the location, not on the start or end date. We must change the code to sort on the start or end date, and even if user has chosen the location. Another thing which we will do is, right now we have the parse server as a separate server. We can mix both the server together. Okay, so this I'll talk in a bit after I complete the user one. Let's talk other things. Okay, so now you will see if the user's location is there, then I use the user's location to sort it. Otherwise, I use this formula to sort it. This last part is called the sorted part. That means, do you want to sort based on the user location or not? So we have to manipulate this part if user does not want to sort on the user's location. So let's plan for that one. So in the sorting one, if you see the sorting part, the select of sorting part, so we have the sorting value, and let's console.log this sorting value. Okay, so let me run the script. Let's see if it is working. So this parse server is working, started, and this client, I'll start the, let me see if it is already running. Okay, so client is also running. So if I refresh the page, I will see the sorting value. Sorting value is created at, event start date, and event end date. So this is the sorting value. So we have to manipulate this one. Okay, so we have to manipulate this one, and we have to add one more sorting value that is called the distance when I choose the location. And how we will do it is in this way. Let's jump in. Okay, so how we will do, so I will create a temporary variable, and if user has location in the form, that is something is there in this location in the form value, if something is in the location, then I will add one more row in this sorting. So for example, I will say, so this is a temporary variable I'm putting as a temp, select temp sorting values. Or if you don't like the temp, we can say modified sorting values. So initially I will take initially I will take it as sorting values. So initially I'm taking whatever there in the sorting values is there, and in sorting value we have these three rows: value label created date, value label event start date, and value label event end date. These are the three values already there, which I take in the modified sorting value. Okay, so I will take this one, and then I will say if we have form values dot location. So if user has chosen the location, I want to add one more sorting kind of parameter, and that sorting parameter is value equal to distance. That means I want to sort based on the distance, and label I want is as a capital distance. So this is a object I want to add to the sorting one if user chooses the location. If something is there in location, I want this modified sorting value to have this object also, because in addition to other sorting part, I need to sort based on the distance also. So I'll say modding sort values equal to, so first I'll take modding sort values, all the previous value of the modding sort value, and then I'll put this object, and then I finish the array. I could also do like this. First let's see what is coming here in the modding sort, then I'll tell you another way also. So sorting value, I will also console.log modified sorting value. Okay, if I refresh it. So right now, since I did not put location, so sorting value and modified sorting value is same. Both are 3, 3. Now if I change this to, for example, Delhi city, once I change this to location, you will see modified sorting value will become 4, whereas sorting value is only 3. And what is the fourth one in modified sorting value? Fourth one is distance, and label is distance. So this, I can use now modified sorting value to display this sorting drop down. Okay, let's do that. So instead of since it is an array, I could have also done modified sorting value dot push. So this would have been also the same thing. Either I would have done as I showed you before, or I would have done the push one. So with the push, I don't need equal sign. I need directly this one, because push automatically update the array. So here I can say now also I can see all the 4 values are there. And if now I have to change the select box to take the modified sorting value rather than the sorting value. Okay, let's go down. And here in the sorting value, I will say modified sorting value. Okay, so instead of the sorting value, I am using modified sorting values. Now if I refresh the page, so here you see 3 items are there. Now if I add the location, in the sorting one, I will see 4. Created date, start date, end date, distance. So now the results are, okay, as soon as I click the search, you will see the results are based on the distance. Okay, because we have written the code that whenever user chooses the location, this result should be based on the location. But what if I don't want to see the result on the location basis? I want to sort based on the start date or end date or created date of this event. I want to use that also. That means I want to use the sorting with all these other parameters in addition to distance. Only I want to sort. Only I want to sort if user has chosen the distance in the sorting list. Otherwise, I don't want to sort based on the location. I want to sort based on the, for example, start date or for example, end date. Okay, something I want to work on this one. So next is we have to write a code to do the sorting part here. We have done the code to display the distance part here in the sorting list. Okay, now we will do the sorting changes here. Okay, let's do that one. So for that, we'll change the code a little bit now. So here is the code for sorting. So this part we have to change it for the sorting. So what I will do now, I will remove the else case here. And this sorting, okay, so this sorting, here I will say if sorting dot value is not equal to distance, and I'll put all this part inside this one. So what it means is that if sorting dot value is not equal to distance, then I sort based on whatever user has chosen. So if you go here, so I'll select the daily city, for example. Now, what is the sorting value? Created date. If I change it to start date, what is the sorting value? Start date. If end date, if I choose end date, what is the sorting value? End date. If I choose distance, what is the sorting value? Distance. So I want to sort if user has chosen the created date or start date or end date that is not distance, then I want to sort however I was sorting, that is with the sorting value, whether it's a created date or it is a start date or it's an end date. So if user has not chosen the distance, then I want to sort based on whatever user has chosen. So here user can choose start date or end date or created date. So if user has chosen any of these three, I want to sort as I was doing previously. But what happened to this true case? So once user has chosen this part, I have to disable this true to false, because if user has chosen the sorting of start date, I don't want to sort based on the user's location. So if user has chosen the start date, end date or created date, I want to make this as false. But if user has chosen distance as the sorting, then I have to make this as a true. So this true will only come when sorting dot value is equal to distance. If sorting value is distance, then only I want to make this true. Otherwise, if sorting is not a distance, I want to make this as false. That's the reason I put sorting value equal to distance is true, then only sort based on the user location. Otherwise, sort based on whatever user has chosen. Okay, so let's take this one. So right now, it is sorting based on the start date. This is the created date. Okay, so let's change it to end date and descending. So now I see test 3 as first and test 1 as the second one. Let's put the address now here. So I choose in the location, and if I choose the end date now, if I search, though you see distance is coming, it is not sorted based on the distance. It is sorted based on the end date descending. And if you choose the distance, so it is sorting based on the distance. Distance does not have descending or ascending sorting. It only sorts based on the distance from the smaller to greater than. There is no parameter I can change from higher to smaller one. So in past we have only the user location is from the lower to higher. The only thing we take care of this sorting part. So if user chooses distance, I sort based on the distance. But if user chooses the start date, I do it with the start date. Start date is okay. So let me search. Okay, descending, start date descending, that is this one is later. 1/1 means January 1. This 12/1, this 12 is kind of December or ascending. Then 12/1 is first, 1/1 is next. So this is how the sorting works based on the location. So what we did two changes. One change is we removed the else case and we created another if case. And in this if case, we check if the sorting is not equal to distance, then we sort it. If it is distance, then we sort based on the user's location. And if it is not distance, we make this as a false so that it should not sort based on the user location. So that is what we did here. Okay. So what we did here, we use this sorting dot value equal to distance in user's location to sort based on location if sorting is distance, and we all sorting logic in another if case if sorting dot value is not equal to distance. This is the solution we did. Okay. So this is what we did. Any questions on this one? Okay, so now if you remember that in the complete one, okay, this is not the read me. In the complete one, I created the client folder, and outside client folder, if you remember, I created the package.json. That is, I did npm init to load the node installation. Now, what you will see, I have node running here. Okay, so I have the path server running here, but my React is running at different location. So what I will do, I will use this path server and install this path server inside this one, inside this node one, which I created in this complete React, so that I should run the node also from here rather than going it here. So let's do this one. Okay, so instead of running path server separately, I will run the path server here. So let's install the path server here. I will create few folders. One is the cloud folder, which is this one, cloud one. Then another one is logs folder. Another one is public folder. Another one is git ignore. I need git ignore file also. I already had git ignore here. So in the package.json, I will copy these dependencies here in this package.json. So I added dependencies here in this package.json. Now what I will do, I will go to root folder, that is complete React, and I'll do npm install, so that all these 4 packages should get installed. I'm waiting till it completes. Yeah, a few more seconds to because it's installing. Okay, let's do other things by the time. So let me go to. Okay, so here we have path server. Let's take the index.js and we'll copy index.js to here in this index.js. Okay, so I copied index.js here so that my path server run from here. We also need to copy this main.js. So let's create a main.js inside the cloud one. So inside the cloud, I will say main.js. I'll copy this one. Okay, so main.js is also done, and this is also completed the installation. So in addition to the in these packages, there's 4. I need to install few more. For example, I'll install one is called concurrently. That is called concurrently. Okay, this is the package I need to install. Another package which I need to install is nodemon. Okay, let's add these 2 packages. Now I'll explain what concurrently does and what nodemon does. Okay. So let's go to index.js file now. Okay, so this one is fine. This is running fine. This is good. Now I go to package.json file. Now you will see there is a script section in the package.json and we have the test script here. So let's delete this test script here and we will add few more key value pairs here to for our facility or for our benefit. So what I will add here, first one I will say start, and when I say start I will run the command. The command will be node index.js. So that means whenever I say npm start, it will run the node index.js, and node index.js is nothing but the path server. So we are running the path server by saying npm start, because I have written the start part here in the script section. And whenever I say npm start in the backend, it runs node.js. Another one I will write as server. So whenever I'll say the server, I will run nodemon index.js. The nodemon is the package I just now added here in the index.js. Okay, so this one actually is updated. Okay, so let me install that again, that package here. So it didn't display here in this package. That's the reason I'm doing it again. So whenever I add this package, it should be in the package.json. If it is not there, that means something is wrong. Okay, let's check the package.json now. Now I can see nodemon and concurrently here. I should be able to see it here whenever I install it. Okay, so second I will say server, and in the server I put nodemon index.js. Now, if I say npm, so if you want to do start, it starts with npm start. Otherwise, if you want to use the server, you have to say whatever other thing will be there, you have to use with the run command. So I have to say npm run server. So when I say npm run server, in the background, it will run nodemon index.js. Now, what is the difference between nodemon and node? So in the nodemon, if anything I change here in the index.js, for example, if I use console.log, hi. So I change the index.js, and you will see the server will restart, and I will be able to see this hi here because I changed it here. If I delete this, again the server will restart, and I will not see hi now. I will only see the past server is started. So nodemon does that if you change anything in the file system, then it will rerun the server. But what if I do npm start, and if I try to edit this index file, you will not see the restarting of the server. Let it run. So past server is running, and I'll say console.log hi. Now you will see there's no restart of the server. Okay, so server 1 started, it started. So I will, okay, so that is the difference between the nodemon and the node. So I have written these two things. Let's add few more. So right now you will see my React part is in the client folder, and all my past server and node application is outside the client server. Now to start the React, so start the nodejs, I will say npm start here on the node side. So what is saying? Some error is there. Okay, so here comma sign is not allowed. Let me do it again. Npm start. So I started the past server here. And then I have to open another terminal. And here I'll go to client folder, and here I'll say npm start. So when I run npm start inside the client folder, React application will start. So we have to run both the application. One is the node one, and one is the React one. So you can always go. Question is whether I can go node one always. So you can always go with whatever you prefer. If you prefer, because generally on the server you don't change the code. On the development machine you will change the code. So nodemon is used in the development machine, but once you go to the server, nodemon is not used. Okay, so something on development we can use nodemon. So you will see here I am starting the React one, and here I am starting the node one, that is the past server. Okay, now I will write the code where I don't have to create the two terminals to start both. In one command, I will start React also, I will start node one also. Okay. So it's starting. We have to give few seconds. Okay, I'm closing now this one. Okay, so let's go here. So generally people prefer to do npm start instead of npm run start, but npm run start is another thing we can do also do, because all other thing can be started by using the run command. So generally people prefer to use sometimes, you know, sometimes people prefer to do directly npm start, or some developers try to prefer the npm run start. So whatever you like, you can do. So it's both are okay. But if you use with other one, you have to use directly run in all the cases. So let's see if npm server runs or it gives error. Okay, so this is not working. So we have to run npm run server. So all other things, whatever I write in the script, should be run with the run command. And start will be, you can run the start with the npm run start or directly npm start. So that is the only difference here. Now, if I want to start the React from this folder only, I will write one more. I will write one more line, that is the client side. That means I want to run the React from here only. So if I want to run React from here, I will write down like this: npm run start, and I will say prefix client. That means run this command from the client folder. So I'll save this one. Now I will not go into the client folder and run it. I can directly say npm run client, and then React, it will start the React one. So it's starting the React one. So I don't have to go inside the client folder and run it. I can directly run the npm start from here only. And you will also notice that we have node module folder here in the root level, and inside the client folder also I have the node module folder. So this node module folder is tied to the React part with this package.json, and this node module folder is tied to the server side, that is a pass server, with this package.json. So if you want to add something new package in the React, you have to go inside the client folder and use the command npm install anything. But if you want to run on the server side, that is on the pass server, you have to go to the root folder and you have to say npm run, npm install, whatever package name you have to give, you can give, and it will be installed in this node module folder. So depending on if you want server side, you have to run on the root level. But if you want to install anything on the React side, you have to go inside the client one and install there. Now, now this is something we run the client one to run the React one. Now what if I want to run the client and server at the one go? So I will say here, I will create another one called as dev. And in the dev, I will use the command called as concurrently, the one which we just now installed. And I have to say /_ npm run server, that is run this part. So I'll say npm run server /_ and then I'll give the space and I'll start again npm run client, and I will say /_. So you will see when I run this command, I have /_ here, /_ here, /_ here, /_ here. That is escaping of the double quote. So concurrently it will run the npm server, that is this line, and then it will run npm client, that is this line. So both will be started in from the one command. So now if I run npm run dev, so it will run first this npm server, that is nodemon. It started the nodemon, then it start the React one now. So it is running two commands. One is the server one and one is the client one. So with the concurrently, I run both the server at the one line of the code. So if you see here, if I write down here, if I go here, if here I will do some console.log on the server, and here I will say environment, and the environment I will say, so I want to see what kind of environment it is, whether it is a production environment or whether it is the development environment. So generally in development, people don't put development, or sometimes we put development also. But if it is not there, we consider that the environment is the development environment. But for the production, we will only get the production as the environment. To see the environment, I will say process dot env dot node environment. So here I want to see what is the environment is. So the server is restarting, you will see. So you will see the environment is undefined. Since we did not define, it is saying environment is undefined. But for the production, we will see environment as production. So how to run this in the production one? So let's add one more line to run the environment in the production one. So I will add one more called as production version. So here I will write the code so that I should run the node environment in the production one. Here I will say I'm talking about a Windows machine, and then I will tell you how to do on the Mac or Linux also in this part. Generally, I don't go to Mac and Linux one to see what is the difference in the name. I only do on Windows one. But if somehow you are working on Mac or Linux, you can change these settings to different one. So prod one, I can say set node environment equal to production, and without any space, I have to give 2 ampersand, and then I will run nodemon index.js. So what I did, I set the environment to production, and then I run the same command called as this one, nodemon index.js. Okay, and then here in the day one I can change this to prod, npm run prod and npm run client. So now if I run npm run dev, so you will see it saves the non-production and then run the nodemon index.js, and then it goes to the starting the React one. And here in this you will see the environment is coming as production. Okay, and for the Linux user, I will add one more line. I can say prod no windows, for example. So whoever are using no windows, they can run directly node environment equal to production, and they can give space nodemon index.js. So this is for the non-Windows users. Okay, so now you will see the environment is going as production. I could have done same thing here, copied this thing in the server, and I would have said set node environment equal to development. So here the node environment will go as a development before running the server. If I run it again, so let me use server now again here, because I checked the production version, now I'll check the server version. So it's running the server, and you will see The environment is called development because I'm setting the environment equal to development. So whatever way you like, you can play with all these settings and do whatever you want to do it. Okay, so this is about the setting. So we will keep this as development for our development purpose, and this is the node 1, and for production we can use this one. There is another way also to use in production, which we will do when we will deploy this in real production. This is only the example which I showed you, but in real one I will show you what I do in the production one. Okay, so this is the one way, but there is another way also. So here we can also check something, that if environment is production, then do something here. So based on the environment, we can write some code to do a special thing, and I will do same thing here now. So if it is production, I will do something like this, So see what I'm doing. So one thing is this, can you see this part? Let's copy this part and I will change this one. So if I'm on the production, I'll say express static, and directly I can say here DR name client build. So I'm saying that if production is there, then inside the client I have the build folder, make that as a static. Okay, so instead of the here public I already said, and I will also say this express static as client build. So we will make this build folder as a static folder. That means all the files inside build folder will be the static files. And what are static files? Something like index.html, CSS. These are all called static files, which are not in the source folder. Okay, now what I will do, another thing, app.get star, and here I will create an arrow function, and inside the arrow function I get request and response, and then I will enter this. Then here I will say res.send file, and I will explain the meaning of this one in a bit. I'll say path.resolve. Here I'll say dir name, then client folder, then build folder, and then go to index.html. Okay, so what it is mean is that first we made this build folder as a static one, and then I said app.get any URL, whatever URL comes. Okay, whatever URL comes, I will say res.send file, path.resolve, dir name client build index.html. So that means when we don't have any of this URL mentioned, so I have /test already mentioned here. If this /test is there, it will take this /test. But if I pass something called as /blah blah blah, which is not there, which I have not defined here, then it will go inside this app.get, and it will go to client build folder and inside the index.html. So it will serve this file. It will serve the index.html inside the client build folder. And what is there inside the build folder? Inside the build folder, we have the React application. Okay, so now how to use this one? So when the environment is production, that's the only thing we will use this one. So let's build the build folder again. I'll go to CD client and I'll say npm run build. So let me build this build folder again, and then I'll show you what exactly is the meaning of this line. So we are building the build folder inside the client. That means whatever application we have written is minified and it will be inside the build folder. So everything which we have in the React will be inside the build folder. Okay, so we don't need the source, public, and node module and other files on the server. We only need the build folder for the server. So when we run this application on some server, we only need the build folder. We don't need any of this part. This part is only for development purpose. The source and all is only for development purpose. When we go live, we don't need any of this thing. We need only the build folder. So I use the client build folder here because I only need the build folder. And if the URL is not mentioned here above, then it will go to the client build folder index.html. So it will use this index.html inside the build folder. Right now it's not there because it's building it. But once it will build it, it will be having index.html. Then we can use that one. That means if any of the path is not given here, it will go inside this index.html. Okay, so once this is built, I'll show you this part. So once we this production one, and once we use this build folder, we don't have to use this, this client side. This client side is only for the development purpose. That is, we run the npm start on the client side for our local development. But when we go to server, when we go to production version, we only have to run this production part. That is, we only have to run the node part, pass server, and with this line statement, all the React part will be run on the server only. We don't have to run separate React and separate node one. With this line of the code, there will be only one server, that is this node pass server, and all the React code will be used with these two lines of the statement. So with this production one, we will not start the React code, but we will be able to use all the React code with our server URL, which I'll show you in a bit. So now when I go, okay, so deploy is done, build is done. So if you see in the build folder, we have index.html. This is the index.html. And this is the minified version of whatever we wrote in the source folder. Okay, so let's close this. Now I'll go one level up. Now if I run npm run prod, I am only running the server part. See, I'm only running the server part. I'm not running the client part. I'm not running the React code. I'm only running the production one. Okay, so it's running only the production one. Now we will test this condition. Now we'll see the localhost 3000. It's not working because I have not started the React code. I have not started the React one. So it's giving site cannot be reached. But if I go to 1337, this is my server port because my server is running in the port 1337. Now if I go to test, I'm able to go to test one. Okay. 1 second. Test is not working. Okay, let's go to dashboard first. Okay, so I'm able to go to dashboard. now let's go to the directly this one. Okay, what I will do, I will delete this part again, this part, because we have in the React we have the slash URL, so I don't want to go it here. So I'll comment this part. Okay, some problem is there. Okay, let me check the auth. Okay, so something is missing. Let me debug what is missing. Okay, something is not right. Okay, so let's run the build again. Let me run the build folder again. Let me double check the spelling and everything. App dot. Okay, so here is one problem here. So actually I have to use this one, like this one. How I have used this one? I have to say just app.use of this express one. So here I have to use app.use, and that's the reason it's not working fine. So whatever I put express.static, I should use it with the app.use. And if I don't use app.use, it is not using it properly and it is giving the error. And that is the reason it was giving error. So let me run again, npm run prod. I'll run only the prod version. Okay, now if I go there, so you will see my React app is there in 1337 port. Let me do Z3. Okay, so my whole application is now running on 1337. So previously, since I was using the React code, I was using 3000 port. Now I'm not using React code. My whole application is currently going through the 1337 port, and all the code is now going through the build folder, not the source folder. So if I do anything, any change in the code, it will not reflect because it's not taking the code from the source folder. It's now taking the code from the build folder, because we are running the prod version, and the prod version we should have always the build folder that we should use it. On prod we don't run on the server source folder, we run on the build folder. Now since I'm running only the prod one, you will see this whole code is now through this build folder. So on the server side, this code is running on the server side and it is taking everything inside the build folder. This is how we run on the production one. We have this node application which will run on the production, and it will take the React code directly from here rather than running the React code separately. And if I come out and if I say npm run dev, when I say npm run dev, that means it is running this server and it is running the client. And at this time we have the two server running, one for the client and one for the server. And the client can be accessed with the localhost 3000, server can be accessed with localhost 1337. That is the difference between these two. Now I'll come out of this one again and I will say npm run prod. So before running the prod, I will just uncomment this test part. I am okay with this one. /1 I have to comment it because that is taking from the React part, so I don't need it here. But with the test one, I can use it here. So let's see the test one. Previously there was some error, so it was not taking test one. Now we'll check again. Okay, let's do the test one. Okay, so test one is still not coming. Okay, maybe I have not copied the test one. You remember we have to, so for the test one we have something in the public test.html, and if I copy this one, so this test part I will copy it, and then I will go to here in the public we have not put the test one. In the public we have not put the test one. So let's go here. So this is a public, I will put it here. So I put it here. Now the test.test will work. It's restarting the node server. Okay, now let's take the test one. I'm able to go to the test one. So you will see if we have something URL inside this node 1, it will take that node 1. If we don't have the URL, then it will go to the React one and it will serve the React index.html. For example, if you type something which is not there, then it is going to the not found, and this not found is inside the React code which we have written in the source folder. And if I go to project 10 routes.jsx, so you will see there is a not found part, and if they don't get the URL, it will go to the not found URL, that is this one. Since this URL does not exist, it's going to the not found. But if I go something which exists in the React, it will go in the React. And if I type something which exists in the node server, it will go to that URL. So either I can create the URL in the node server, it will go there, or I create URL in the React one, it will go there. Either of this. So with the one, this is the index.js. With this 2-3 lines of the code, if they don't get this URL, it will go to the React part. And we only need this one, the prod one, for the real deployment. We don't need client source code for the deployment, because this source code is only for development purpose. Once you are done, you build it and it will go to the build folder, and then you have to run from the index.js file. And index.js file will take only the build folder, it will not take the source folder. That's how we do. So what is the, can we only hold the server without the React path? React is running on the servers. I don't understand your question. Can we run without server without React part? That means you don't want to run this part, or what? What do you mean by? I don't understand your question. So can you rephrase your question? One person asking React part without since React is running on the server. I don't understand your question. So what here, I will just refresh the thing. Maybe you have lost kind of thing, I think. I created this path server inside my root folder. And this path server, forget about this line of code. When I run this file, it is running the path server. But I want to use the React also. So to use the React is inside the client folder, and inside the client folder we have all the React code. This source folder is only for the development purpose. It is not for the production purpose. For the production purpose, we have to run the npm run build, which will create the build folder, and then whole code will be inside this build folder. So whole code of the React will be inside client, inside the build folder. Now what we are doing, we are running the index.js file. This is the file only which will run on the server. And when we run this file, how to use the React code? By using 3 lines of the code. These 2 lines of the code, we are running the React code inside my node server. If I don't put this one, then I won't be able to use the React code on the server. So that is why I'm putting this part so that I can use the React code. Now, is it clear, or is it something you should ask if you don't understand, so that I can explain you what I don't know what doubt you have. So you have to ask what problem you are having. So this is what I showed you. We are only hosting the server. When I run the npm run prod, I'm not starting the client side. I'm only starting the server side. That is, it will run only index.js. Index.js is the server. We are not running the npm run client. That is, we are not going to the client and running the npm run start. We are only running the prod. Prod means we are running node index.js. When I run node index.js, it's only the server side. We are running only the server side. And once we run this, it will run the path server also, and it will take code from the React also. Since I need to set the environment and then run this one. So I have to say npm run prod. Prod is something I have to say it is a production version. So I'm running only the node code and not the React code. React code is automatically taken from this build folder because of the 3 lines of the code. Is this clear, or you have some doubt on this one? So we are not running the npm start on the client side. We are running npm start on the node side only, and node side has a path server in it. Is that clear?